Hey now! My name's Brian McKanna and welcome to Talkin Howie. It's basically a video podcast talking about all things Howard Stern. We're going to get into lots of cool stories. I want to talk about the show today, the show back in the 90s, 2000s, K-Rock, NBC, Sirius. I want to get into stuff about Artie, Fred, Howard, Robin, the Whack Pack. This show is going to be about all things Howard Stern. So, I decided to start this video podcast because I am a super fan. And I happen to be one of those really weird people that listens to the show around 4 to 5 hours a day. If I have any free time and I don't have to concentrate, I'll throw on the Howard Stern Show. I listen on the SiriusXM app. And I also do one of Howard's least favorite things, and I listen to old shows on YouTube. I know that copyright infringement, Howard's not a big fan. I don't care. I can't get enough of the Howard Stern world. So, a little bit of background on me. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I am on the radio once a week on a little pop station, and I've been a fan of radio for the longest time. Ended up stumbling upon the Howard Stern Show back in 2013, just kind of flipping through my Sirius, and was instantly hooked. And I feel like after all these years of listening, I've studied it. I almost feel like I'm a bit of a Howard Stern expert. So I thought I might be just the right person to start this video podcast. I want to get into talking about different subjects, whether it's, Beetlejuice or Artie, or the fact that the Howard Stern Show was broadcasting live from their homes this week because of the coronavirus scare. I want to get into all kinds of stuff like that. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you know when I post new videos. I'm going to be getting into lots of different topics, and I want you to get in on the fun too. I'm going to eventually have phone calls, and I'm going to make this a very interactive show. I also want to talk about Stuttering John, Artie, their podcasts that they do. We're going to get into all of this. So today, let's start it off by talking about this last week's show. This is, I believe it's the second or third week. It's the last week of March. And with all the coronavirus stuff going on, Howard, Rob, and Gary, the entire crew broadcast individually from their homes via Zoom. And I gotta admit, the show actually was really good. I mean, it was still just as funny. Yeah, the audio wasn't exactly there, but man, for only using the audio coming out, the microphones in their computers, it was really, really good quality overall. And I thought, how amazing is this group of people, especially Howard and Robin, that they can broadcast on such a shitty platform like Zoom. It's not super professional, but they're working with what they have. But no matter what, on Sirius, on free radio, on Zoom, they are still the most interesting and funny people to listen to. I mean, that's one of the greatest things about the show is it's just so easy to listen to. They're interesting. They have interesting things to say. And then the cherry on top is that they're funny. And they have interesting, funny, witty commentary on things. I am a super fan, and that doesn't mean that I can't be critical of the show. I did think it was a little weird that they had a whole discussion at the beginning of the show, either I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, about how they never cleaned for themselves, and now Robin has a cleaning person coming in, but she's quarantined, but she's not really quarantined. And then Howard was talking about how him and Beth are cleaning, and they never really clean their homes, which is something totally unrelatable for someone like me, working middle class, and I'm sure a lot of you out there. And then Howard had the audacity to talk about J-Lo flaunting her wealth with this whole coronavirus scare. And I thought, dude, you just talked about how you have a cleaning staff and how you're not used to cleaning up breadcrumbs off your stove, but you're going to give J-Lo shit because she's posting pictures of her pool? I don't know. I thought that was a little hypocritical. But I got to admit, having Alec Baldwin on and Jimmy Kimmel was a home run, especially Alec Baldwin. I love anytime he's on the show. Him and Howard have a great chemistry. And the fact that he was broadcasting on his toilet, he was sitting reverse cowboy, I guess you'd call it, on his toilet. And the reason being is because Gary said, Alec, we got to have good lighting. Look at the video of when Jimmy was on Monday. He looked like fucking Dracula, in his lair. Make sure you have good lighting. And he found a very resourceful way to do it. So I'm a little bummed about the whole coronavirus scare and the toll it's taking on the Howard Stern show, only because I know that his contract is coming to an end here at the end of 2020. And honestly, I have no idea if he's going to re-sign with SiriusXM. My worry is if this is his last year, if he's going off into the sunset, it won't be done right. If he's broadcasting from his home all the way up until the end of the year, which he says he's thinking about doing, which I think is an overreaction, but in the same way, we know that Howard is a massive hypochondriac. So my worry is if they go ahead and do the show like they've been doing from their homes, and it goes all the way up to the end of the contract, and then he doesn't re-sign, they won't have the big grand finale like they should have. I picture it with, a star-studded, kind of like they did with K-Rock, where they played it out over a week or 2 weeks' time, having different people from the past come in from the show. I worry, too, that we'll never get to see the Howard Artie interview. And I don't even know if that was ever a possibility, if that was ever even on the table. But if Howard continues to broadcast from his home and doesn't renew his contract, we'll never get that opportunity. And I think that I speak for a lot of the fans when I say I am dying to see an interview with Howard and Artie. It would be the greatest thing in the world. Because, listen, Artie's podcast, I like it. I really don't like his co-host. Seems like a nice guy, but God, just unbelievably unarticulate and hard to listen to. And Artie really doesn't even have that same, that same witty humor that he did with Howard, because I think that Artie fed off Howard being the host. And now that Artie's the host, it's not really a great fit for him. So, lost my train of thought. Oh, what I was going to say is, it's just, I don't like the fact that this coronavirus thing is totally throwing this last year of his contract into a tailspin. But I don't know, in 2015, I had no idea if he was going to resign. And I think that that's by design. Howard always wants to keep us on the edge of our seats in terms of his contracts. And I think that a lot of times he's doing that to fuck with Sirius. He'll usually start to shit on the company about 6 months or a year before his contract's up. He wants them to think that he's leaving. And I'm sure that's strategic with, him and Don Buchwald. But it's such a shame. And listen, it's cool. I'm glad the show was still on this week, but it's not the same show. It doesn't have the same production value. Fred can't do his drops. They can't play the songs. Robin's not doing her news. The show is extremely abbreviated. And so it just sucks. As a Howard Stern fan, this fucking sucks. So I'm really hoping this ship blows over. I really, really, really hope that if it does blow over, Howard gets back into the studio. It's very possible that he might just say to Sirius, hey, I'm staying at home. I don't want to be out. I'm still worried about this shit. And what can they do? He's providing a broadcast. If he does the same show, that's that. Although he has said that he doesn't like doing it from home. He said there's a certain thing about being in the studio, looking someone in the eye, having those face-to-face conversations. So basically, what I'm trying to get down to is I'm paranoid. I'm anxious. I want the show to get back to normal, just like I do the rest of my life. But the Howard Stern show, in a lot of ways, consumes my life. I listen every single day. I'm obsessive about it, which probably isn't healthy. And God bless my wife. She puts up with me watching all this shit and listening constantly. I don't know. Only time will tell. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this first episode, but I did want to mention that if this shit, like all this, these gifs of Howard and Artie and Fred and everybody, if they're annoying, let me know. I know they're constantly moving while I'm talking, but I thought it might add a cool element to my little show, Talkin Howie. So again, do me a favor, like and subscribe, hit the bell button to know when I'll be uploading next. And I really appreciate you checking out my video podcast. Again, my name's Brian. This is Talkin Howie, and I will catch you next time.